Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading 3 anticipated book releases. So this year I wanna stay on top of my anticipated releases as they're coming out because last year I left so many of them to the end of the year and I had to be reading all of them, trying to speed read all of them to still read them in the year that they came out. And this year I don't want to do that. I want to stay on top of them, and I feel like if I read them as they come out for a video, I will be more likely to actually read them when they come out and when I'm actually excited about them. So I decided to film this video to document me reading these 3 books that came out in January, and there is 1 fantasy book and 2 horror books. And obviously I have great expectations for these books because they are some of my anticipated releases. So I obviously, expect to love them or at least like them. And there are gonna be no spoilers in this video. And yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so I have read Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, which is my first anticipated release of the year. And this was book 10 in the Wayward children's series, which is a series of fantasy novellas. And basically in the series, we follow mostly a different kid in each book, but sometimes we see them throughout the multiple books. But they basically go through magical doors that appear when they seem to need them the most. And those doors lead to other worlds, and we see those kids explore those other worlds and go on quests, and they usually end up coming back to their original world. And there is a school, and the director of the school herself was she, when she was a kid, went through one of those doors, so she understands, and that's what the school is for, to help those kids get back to their world and to adapt to live there again, because most of them do believe that they really belonged in those other worlds and not in the world where they came from. And in this book specifically, we're following Nadia, and we start following her basically since she was born. And she was given up for adoption, and she was only adopted when she was a little older. And she the parents that adopted her, they wanted to force her, or they did force her to wear a prosthetic arm because she didn't have her, I think, left arm. So they wanted her to wear a prosthetic arm, which she didn't want. She didn't feel like there was something missing from her, that she needed to have that arm. She felt whole without the arm, and she felt like it would only bother her and get in her way. And so she didn't feel like herself anymore once she had the prosthetic arm. And she goes out into the woods, and she finds one of those doors, and so she goes through the door into one of those magical worlds, and it's a world of water basically. And there are giant turtles, and she already really liked turtles when she was in her original world. And years go by there, and so basically see her explore the world, and like I said, basically feel like she belongs there. And I did really like it, although I don't think it was one of my favorites. And I can't really pinpoint why I didn't absolutely love it. I just feel like it didn't have the magic that some of those other books did. But I don't really know what exactly I wanted more from it. I don't know, but I did still really, really enjoy it. And I did really like Nadia, and I did like to see her grow up, and also really liked that other world that she was in, that she was exploring. And I myself also love turtles, so I also really loved that there were these giant turtles that basically people bonded with. And so yeah, I did really, really enjoy it. I had a really good time with it, and I think I'm gonna give it 4 stars, but I will give like my final ratings at the end once I've had more time to think. But yeah, I did really like it. And that's it. That's my first anticipated release for this year, and I did really like it. So, so far so good. And yeah, we are gonna move on to the second book when it comes out, because it hasn't yet. I think it will come out in 2 days, actually. And it's called Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and it is horror. And this one, since it's, I think, longer, I will probably update halfway through. And yeah, I'm waiting for it to come out, and whenever it does, I will start reading it. Okay, so I am halfway through Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and this one is a horror book, and we are following mainly Fern, and she is 15 and she is pregnant, and she is sent by her family. She's taken there by her father specifically to the Wellwood, I think that's what it's called, home, which is basically a place where girls who are pregnant and unmarried go to basically have their children in secret. And so she's there and she meets other girls that are there in the same situation as she is, and they have no freedom. They are controlled every second of every day, and they are treated like pretty badly. And one day there is, I think it's like every 2 weeks, a mobile library goes to the home because it's like on a buzz, and the librarian gives Fern a book that is about witchcraft, and she and her, I think, 3 friends start like reading the book, and they do like one spell that was pretty fun. Like the spell that they did, the results of the spell were pretty fun, and they finally like start having some like kind of power, because that they never did. Even before like going to the home, they never did, and this was set in the 70s. And I'm really, really liking it. Like, it was definitely really slow in the start. Like, I think we only got the library thing to happen like 25% in. So it took a while to get to, where we were going. But I didn't really mind, because I really like the characters that we're following. I really like Fern, and I really like just, following them and seeing her get to meet the other girls and like them getting to know each other. And there's also another character there that I really, really liked, and she's called Rose. I absolutely love her. She is an icon, and I'm really liking it. Like, it's definitely not a fun read in terms of like what the characters are going through, because they are going through like horrible things, but like I'm really, really liking it, and I can't wait to see like what they do with this magic that they now have. Like, I'm really excited to see where it goes, and I think there's gonna be like some crazy, like gory, disgusting scenes, because there usually are in this author's books. So I'm excited to see how that goes. And yeah, like so far I'm really liking it. My only like small complaint is that like it could be a little faster, but like other than that, I'm really, really, really liking it. And so yeah, I'm gonna finish it and I will be back. Okay, so I finished Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, and I really, really, really liked it. I think it was probably my favorite book by this author, actually. And in the second half of this book, we basically saw like the consequences that the girls had to deal with after, starting to do magic, like the consequences that it brought to them. And there was like a period in the book where the main character, Fern, she was kind of like annoying me because she was just constantly changing her mind on like what she wanted to do, like how she wanted to proceed in terms of said consequences, like how she wanted to deal with them. And like she was annoying me, but then I started thinking that she's like in a such a like stressful situation, and also she's 15. Like she's 15, so I would expect her to, you know, be changing her mind constantly, and especially like in the situation that she was in. I guess it is understandable. And we also had like a bunch of like gory scenes that were very like descriptive, very scary, very kind of disturbing, and like some of them really, really cool, some of them just like absolutely disturbing. And we had like scenes, the ones that were like with magic were absolutely like gory and scary, but really, really cool. The ones that were like real life gory stuff were kind of disturbing, but like in a good way, like great for a horror book. And I really, really liked it. I actually really, really liked the ending. I actually got kind of emotional towards the ending. I really, really, really loved it. And I ended up really, really liking Fern and like what she ended up doing, like how the decision that she made, like in the end, I really liked it. And yeah, I really, really, really like the book. And if there's one thing that this author does incredibly well, other than like the gory, scary stuff, is like writing characters that infuriate you. Like not the main characters, like the characters around them. Like they are in every book that I've read from him, like they are absolutely infuriating. Like they are awful people, like truly awful people. Like this author is great at writing those characters. Like I really like, I wanna strangle them myself because they are that horrible. And yeah, in this book there were a bunch of people like that. And so yeah, like I absolutely loved it. There were definitely times there was like kind of hard to read, not like the physical stuff as much, but like the emotional, like psychological stuff that the characters were going through. Like sometimes it was definitely hard to read, like they were struggling, like for real. But yeah, I really, really like the book, and I think I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. I'm still not entirely sure. I think I said before, if I hadn't, I'll say it now, I will give my final ratings at the end of the video, but for now I am thinking I'm gonna give it 4.5 stars. And yeah, now next week, the third book for this video comes out, which is called At Dark I Become Loathsome. And so I will read that one when it comes out, and I will get back to you. Okay, so I have actually read the whole book, At Dark I Become Loathsome, because it was pretty short. I think my ebook was like 140 pages or something, so you know, it was pretty short. And also I didn't really have much to say when I was halfway through because I was pretty confused still. And so basically we are following a guy that I'm not entirely sure if it was like a couple of years ago or less, that his wife died and his son a few months ago had been kidnapped. And so he was, you know, obviously struggling with that and with the grief. And he decided to start a sort of ritual for people who didn't really want to be alive anymore. And the ritual was supposed to make people like realize that, you know, life was worth living, make them have a different outlook on life. And we see them like perform one of those rituals, and then while he's like, you know, continuing to perform rituals with other people, he kind of like starts changing his mind like about the ritual, and he starts doing something else. And then in one of the rituals he meets a guy, and the guy seems to be more connected to him than he originally thought. And like from the synopsis, I thought it was gonna be more about like those two men and like their interactions, their dynamic, and it really wasn't that much. It was just like really towards the end of the book. And like it was definitely, disturbing from the beginning, like I wanted it to be. And it was also kind of gross, like I wanted it to be. But I guess I wanted more. That's like the feeling that I just got at the end of the book, is that I wanted more. Because there was also like a couple of other stories that we learned about throughout this book that were not really connected to like the main story. It was just like stories that the main character was learning about that I didn't really care. Like I could see the connection as to like why he was learning those stories, but I didn't really care. Like I was way more interested in seeing like what he was doing and like his changing behavior and the things that he was kind of losing his mind with. Like that was what I was interested in, but that like I wanted more of that and I didn't get as much as I wanted. But I still enjoyed it because like I said, it was still pretty disturbing, which is what I was wanting from this book, and it was definitely also kind of gross, and I did enjoy it, but I didn't love it as much as I wanted to love it. But it was still an interesting time, and I think I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. And yeah, those are the books for this video. And this was pretty fun because I got to read 3 books that I was very excited about, and I did end up enjoying all of them. So for the final ratings, for Adrift in Currents Clean and Clear, I gave 4 stars. Witchcraft for Wayward Girls, I gave 4.5 stars. And At Dark I Become Loathsome, I gave 3.5 stars. So, they were all good ratings. They were all books that I enjoyed. So this was definitely very fun, and I want to continue doing more of these videos of reading my anticipated releases throughout the year, because I had a really good time reading these books and filming this. And yeah, that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!